John Jarboe of the Personnel Commission. Please welcome John.
That was his first mistake, giving up the microphone. You never want to do that, at least not with me. The Personnel Commission is made up of 3 members, and I happen to be fortunate enough to be one. And if Victor and Virginia would stand up, they're the other 2, Virginia Levinson and Victor Garcia. And for those of you who don't know what the Personnel Commission does, is those classified folks in the room here remember when you were hired in this district, you took a test and you went through all that process. Well, that's what we're in charge of. And the purpose of that is to make sure that every employee is qualified to do their job. And they're not employed because they happen to be the second cousin of the superintendent, but they're employed because they can be qualified to do the job. And this is important because that means all the employees know that somebody's working beside you, they're qualified. They may be the second cousin of the superintendent, but they got the job because they're qualified, not because they know the superintendent. And I was thinking about how long I've been associated with this district. We were talking about some of these things, and it's been almost 50 years. I've had children here, I've had grandchildren here, and now I have great-grandchildren here. And I was on the board in the 70s, and I've been on the commission, I think it seems like forever, although Virginia's been there longer than I have. And, but she's doing great for being 29. But in this, when I was on the board and all this, we'd go to these annual conferences, and they'd give you a name tag, I think, so they make sure you remember who you were. But they'd have the district, the school district you were from under it, and I'd have people come up to me, and they'd look at me, and they'd see the name, and they'd say, Cajon Valley. I hear that's a great place to work. Cajon Valley, I hear that's a great school district. And I would be wondering, here I'm up in Sacramento and this is some district from Northern California. How do they know about us down here? And I said, it's because we have that reputation. And over the years, I've had the misfortune maybe to find out about what goes on in some other school districts and how dysfunctional some of them are, down to the point where they actually are suing each other, different parts. And I don't know how they teach their kids when they have that going on. And so that's why it's important to have a district with this kind of reputation, because if you're happy with working and you're doing a great job, that means the kids are getting a great representation and a great education. And so that, I don't think you get enough attaboys, and for that I certainly as a parent, a grandparent, and a great-grandparent are thankful and want to acknowledge all that. And I think the reason for this in this district is because of the past employees and the current employees. The past employees created this atmosphere and this spirit, and the current employees are continuing in that spirit. And I think you guys ought to all stand up and give yourselves a big round of applause for the great job you're doing. Real quickly, just to finish real quick, I know we're in awe of a lot of people, and you think about the lion tamer that goes into the cage and put the lions and the whip and the chair and the guns. But I know a couple groups that I'm in awe of them, and they don't have whips and chairs and guns. Yeah, and that's school bus drivers and teachers. Okay, have a great year taming the lions.
Thank you, John.